a public hearing, scheduled for today at 5:15. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pippa?
Here.
Ms. Dara? Here. Mr. Hopkins?
Here.
Mr. Kozar?
Here.
Mr. Westbrook?
Here. Okay, the subject matter, could you read that please for us, Janelle?
A request for conditional use permit for outdoor display of merchandise for Gecko at 265 and 275 East Island Road.
All right, is there anyone that would like to address this? Come forward. You know what, you don't have to give it to us, but just sit there, because if you were gonna have you in the regular meeting, this is a public hearing that we're required to have much time on. And I don't hear anything to you. Okay, so I can safely say, there's no comment.
Give people 5 minutes and you say, they got to what, 5:15?
Well, actually, they have to be here at 5:15.
Oh, okay.
Somebody walking in the door. Oh, wait. Hi, buddy. We're having a public meeting right now. You're not interested in addressing anything in a public meeting, are you?
I'm here representing Sheffield Steel. We're on the agenda.
Very good. All right. So do I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, we gotta wait till 5:30. If you wanna leave that up there, I think you're first on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I went to that football.
Sandusky? Good.
Oh, that's me. Just absolutely two powerhouse offenses. And we were behind one time, 2 touchdowns. And they battled back. Amazing.
Have they chosen the field yet for Friday?
Yes, Brunswick.
Brunswick?
Yes, I don't remember which school. It's on the website though. That's not too far, it's about a half hour. But I was amazed how many people were there. Kevin was there.
I went to,
He's got to look back.
Yeah.
I don't know, this might be the one to win pass. I think it's supposed to be.
It looks like it's right on.
High.
Plus he's got a belt right over his shoulders.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, well, this one's for, how you doing, Lance? This one's for the championship of the division.
there's still 2.
I can't believe 2 more. That'll be all the way through December, into December. And then I wonder what they have Black Friday.
Oh, they play that day or they move it in, they might be Saturdays too. I'll switch to Saturday somewhere there.
And the rest of them are on neutral fields. I don't know, because I don't remember. That's a long time ago. That makes
You're
sense.
okay with this?
So,
I know the track out on
Yeah, well, how did they?
total change.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Nobody told me. Carolyn was gonna call me.
They didn't make the semifinals, right?
I read
I mean,
that
it's just
much.
plastered everywhere.
Something like 50 out of 96 or something.
Well, so
like
they're
that.
halfway.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
like 28 or 8 out of 20 in Ohio or something like that.
The other thing I did is,
So they, get better, little bit better than Brunswick. Like
trash enclosure that they said were on there.
somewhere.
Well, it won't be on the
Well,
plate yet.
that,
Here's the photo right there.
they didn't list their hometown.
That's just the current pavement back in.
Right.
Because they were from Perrysburg.
Yeah.
It's
Good
35
grief.
feet long.
And then when they throw
Oh.
flag,
But it's
it's 30 degrees, what are you doing?
22 feet wide, roughly.
Okay, let's see those big, yeah.
It's a big old. Golfing results of the point is not changing.
He not only worked, but he
We'll
belonged
probably
to a lot of
Okay.
clubs, art clubs.
Typically not, but I guess maybe that's why they're doing it that way, because
Yeah.
you don't wanna get locked into something, they decide how to live there with it a little bit, and decide how to better work there.
Calls come back. Got rumor over the, over the Twitter, get that we like, we're bringing in the, getting on wall. This coming forward, 2015.
Wow. Well, you know what, they had a real nice building in high school. I don't know if you've ever gone to that, but it was extremely nice. And playing in the choir scene, and then they showed the flag folding ceremony, what each fold is for. And then they had the tribute to the POWs. It was all good stuff, and the kids, they mentioned
We raised.
well, how you gonna do that? You're gonna have a model? So it's life size.
So you probably used to bigger things long
I
before.
remember being there once, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
place
Also,
every,
it was so funny and stuff.
every 60 to 95 feet on side. That's not preferred by any
Private
means.
teachers have this.
Honey bake.
Together with the kids.
Half baked.
There you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. Get your kids involved.
But you know what, right now, I don't mean to upset you, but I was told, because I went to the assisted living facility, that Vietnam and World War II veterans are dying about a 500 a day clip.
What was in it?
We're pretty much,
That's why she kept it.
World War I.
World War I. and then
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Vietnam.
Cold, right?
No, it doesn't bother me.
All told, 500 a day. So when you're giving tributes to the veterans, that's neat.
How goes it?
Huh?
Hello?
Okay, tomorrow, I'll give you a call to say the, property the White House, the abandoned house, that had the tree on top of it with a hole on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
So for- That house is a storage unit.
Had several other groups.
They're using it as a storage
Sure,
unit.
they'll probably come from all over.
It's loaded with doors and windows and everything.
What
The
is
guy
it
has a
like?
bunch of rentals. He hasn't lived there in 15, 16 years. No,
Moved down.
wanna give a tree on it.
Okay.
It's a storage unit. I mean, a lot of the residents around there are complaining. So, I mean, that house needs to go.
Going on.
It's in bad shape.
4
Unless
days.
you lets me walk up and look inside, I don't know.
That's a big
Yeah,
deal.
it's, pretty bad.
Hopefully they will.
I'm letting you know, it's a storage unit. It's a
Really, really
warehouse.
good.
So they use it
We're
for,
building,
alright?
some Vietnam setups.
Yeah.
People are hiring people on our shoot.
I'm really tired of getting the calls on it.
Build some.
People call about it all the
Guard
time.
towers.
But the tree being on it for years has been a hole in the roof.
Fireworks.
cited, he gets
Oh,
cited
my,
every year.
yeah.
Consider it for grass.
Yeah, for grass and, but nobody ever told him to get the tree off until recently, so. But there's animals and everything living all up in there, there's holes all in that house.
Well, you know what?
It's infested probably in there. But it's a shame for the neighbors, because
That's
they're,
why
you know, I mean, the house 2 doors down, they can't even sell their property,
Yeah,
Animals
well,
will call up there, they'll check.
you know?
They have a little more latitude
Well,
than we do.
well, if there's holes in the roof, then the chimney cat and there's,
No, he said he had it patched up on the inside, it's just the shingles. That's what he told me.
you can see straight in.
yeah, that's why it's
But then you can't even see the light going through there.
better, so.
I haven't looked at that, it doesn't, I'm just gonna see like going through there.
There's light going through there, trust me. We got pictures.
I'll tell you what, today,
Trespassing?
Sylvia, come here. Heck, yeah.
listening.
Trespassing on private property.
Sylvia.
His experiences, wow, what that guy. A lot of them had all kinds.
There's nobody living there. It's been like that for
No, it's
15
his,
years.
it's
We
his
get a lot.
parents' house, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
it's just
the house,
another thing we take
next to
for
Harris.
granted in
Okay.
today's society.
Now, the whole,
So
there's light that goes through there. Am I right? Am I crazy? He says there's not.
The hole's been patched.
He says the hole's patched from the inside.
No, no, he put shingles on the outside too, and we got him in court.
Just recently.
In the last month and a half.
Yeah, okay, cause I know like in the summertime, we know what exactly what it looks like. We got pictures of it. We've been following that house for a while, but it's a warehouse.
It's a rare.
It's a warehouse. We're using it, he's using it for storage. He has a bunch of rental properties. So is our one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go. No, it's
No,
not.
she said he's using it as.
He's using it, he's a landlord, he's using it for that. It's building supplies, so yeah. It's windows and doors.
Well,
She's so funny.
I can't believe all the stuff that goes on right here. Where else?
It's just. Okay, thank you.
That's why it's so nice to see, the football games. There's over 200 kids.
Okay. So if I remember that. Yeah. we should do it. 'Cause I'm getting it.
I asked the
Jimmy John's. Yeah.
Huh? Well, can we get a Diabetes?
and it's better that,
Can we get a Diabetes? All the fast food we have here, we can get Diabetes.
Sure. Right.
everybody ready? Okay, I'm showing it's 5:30. Let me call the November 17, 2014 Planning Commission meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Kota,
Here.
Zara, here. Mr. Hopkins,
Here.
Mr. Kozar,
Here.
Mr. Westbrook.
Here.
Okay, we need approval of the August 4th Planning Commission meeting minutes. And if you can please notify us if somebody needs to abstain.
You and Mr. Kozar were both absent for that meeting.
All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, we need 4. That's all right. We were 1, 2, 3, 3. And then we are,
Make a motion to approve?
But you need 4 people?
no.
No.
Yeah,
We never did 4.
Yeah.
Right.
3.
okay.
I think.
You made a motion, do I have a second?
There's 3 support.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Abstain for Frank. All right, first item on the agenda is a request for conditional use permit for outdoor display of merchandise for Get-Go at Highland Road. Brian, could you please read your report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have a brief report dated November 9th. Essentially, it's in connection with the applicant's desire to have some outdoor display centers on the west side of the building. There's 3 outdoor display centers. 2 of them are along the building facade. One's out a little more in an island, sort of prominently displayed toward the front of the building. I have a little concern about, I'm sorry, there's 4 total. The 4th one is out near the road. The first 3 which are up near the building, I have a little concern about that. The 4th one, though, is located in that small island and highly visible from Highland. I just suggest that this display area receive a detailed landscape treatment. If not, have it relocated or eliminated from the site. My guess is they don't want to eliminate it, so it could either be landscaped or moved somewhere else on the property. And then as a comment that carried forward from my last review of the conceptual plan, any materials that present a fire or property hazard, in this case the propane, should be approved, reviewed and approved by the fire department for the location and method of storage. So at this time, I do recommend that they receive their conditional zoning certificate for the outdoor display, just with the caveat that one display, it's in an island that has number 20 and 13 if you're looking at the site plan, that area receive detailed landscape treatment or be relocated somewhere along the west building facade.
Thank you. I don't think there was anything from Nick, Feeney, Dennis?
No, nothing.
Nothing from Dennis. From the commissioners, questions, comments?
Here's the ones.
This one.
So, Brian was referring to the area merchant in that front island, and we are acceptable with that condition, either relocating it or some type of treatment there to solve it. We had a image of that in the previous rendering that was submitted, and it's something that we're trying to figure out exactly what it looks like. But it would be for fuel merchandising type of items related to and adjacent to or closer to the fuel handling itself. So we'll work on trying to define where that should be located and how we can screen it.
All right. Are there any other questions, comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to accept with the condition that the one identified location will either be relocated or landscape screen.
Second that.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's good. All right, next we'll move on to the proposed final site plan for this same facility. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report dated November 10th. This is regarding the construction of the new facility. The commission may remember at the last meeting, we had a very conceptual plan that's sort of what I call 50,000 foot level of what the proposal would be. No real details about construction, so this carries that forward. I would call this more of a hard, fast preliminary site plan for the commission's review. The building is 6,125 square feet. It's a new get-go gasoline station. If you haven't seen one, they're pretty nice. They're cropping up all over Northeast Ohio right now. One just recently finished in Paynesville. One, I called it just under construction, but I'm corrected that it's going to open in the city of Mentor. So they are they're prominently being displayed now throughout Northeast Ohio. So the details regarding the plan, I have some comments. So the future, in my opinion, the future pavement area and development areas, so all the driveways, diesel fueling stations, all of that should be, as many details as possible should be fleshed out in this approval process during certainly the final approval process for this plan. This would include designing a stormwater collection system to accommodate full use of the property. the advantage to the applicant using this approach is a more streamlined approval process in the future. It's something I think the commission has done on some other plans in the past. I note here in my second comment that all the setbacks and such are acceptable, but we were looking at the plan, and there are 2 parking spaces. I guess that'd be the northeast corner of the property that don't meet the 20-foot setback for the parking setback requirements, but they can just be shifted further south on the property, so there's no real issue with them relocating those. And we talked to the applicant prior to the meeting, and no issue with them relocating them. But the landscape plan, something that, in my opinion, does need some more work. Provide some screening of the parking area along Route 8 and in Highland, but in my opinion, not nearly enough. So I recommended a refined landscape plan for a future submittal, showing more extensive landscape screening along parking oriented toward Route 8 and Highland. In general, trees should be spaced 20 to 25 feet on center rather than the 60 to 90 feet that's being provided throughout the site. The applicant should be mindful that the code does require an extensive mix of deciduous and non-deciduous trees, so pine trees and maple trees, if you will, or oak trees, a good balance between the two. So to pay careful attention to that as we move forward with the landscape plan. My third comment, probably certainly the more extensive comment, and given some thought to this from the last discussion we had at the conceptual meeting, but I am concerned with the driveway locations and their how they line up with the driveway locations of the properties across the street, across Highland. In particular, that first driveway that's pretty close, about 150 feet or 160 feet to the light at Route 8 in Highland, is one that I would recommend to be looked at by the city's traffic engineer as possibly being a right turn only, not allowing left turns out of that particular driveway. And then the other concern is the future driveway location that'll access just adjacent to the future car wash. That one's about 100 feet from what I call the main entrance to the site. So I just think some analysis needs to be given to the driveway locations. I think that ultimately the city's traffic engineer through GPD group could certainly work out something with the applicant to make sure optimal traffic flow occurs. And this may be fine, but I just thought it would require some further examination. My fourth comment, the generator pad that's in the back of the property says it's going to be screened, but there's no details about the type of fencing, so just something that should be included on a final plan. And then regarding landscaping, again, the code does require landscaping be integrated into the building design or by arranging materials close to the facade. One of the suggested approaches, and we've done this on other buildings, is to locate some small shrubs and flowering bushes near the bottom of the building facade to the maximum extent possible along the building. And then the decorative fencing along Highland, some details for that will need to be provided. Height of the fencing, color of the fencing, type of fencing. I just noted section 1171.16, the guidance to the applicant regarding that topic. And then the last thing, the lighting levels that are shown on the site plan, they exceed 1 foot candle at Highland Road and at the Route 8 property lines. The code doesn't necessarily have specific lighting standards, but the commission has traditionally followed sort of industry standards with regard to lighting, and we've utilized 1 foot candle as the maximum lighting level at non-residential property lines. So something to be cognizant of. I think just shielding the lights differently or maybe moving them a little bit on the site can yield a less intense foot candle strength at the property lines. So what I call most of those issues pretty minor. I mean, even the landscaping is a pretty minor issue, but I think the bigger issue is working out the driveway location if the commission agrees. And that's something I think could be worked out with the city's traffic engineer to coordinate the exact location of those driveways. But at this time, I do think the plan is more than sufficient to provide a preliminary site plan approval, the caveat that the final plan would be something that works out those driveway locations.
All right, was there anything from Nick?
Yes. I've reviewed the submittal of the November 17th Planning Commission agenda and offer the following for the Commission's consideration. A full engineering submittal will be required in accordance with CO 113705. Stormwater management design shall be in accordance with the following: CO 923 erosion and sediment control and post-construction stormwater quality, CO 924 riparian setbacks, Summit County Engineers Stormwater Management Manual, the latest edition. A post-construction stormwater LTMA will be required for the development. LTMA shall be recorded prior to completion of this project. A special flood hazard permit will be required in accordance with CO 1353 flood damage reduction. External approvals from the following entities will be required: Cleveland Water Department, Summit DOES, Summit SWCD, OEPA. Sheet C401, storm sewer capacity calculations will be required for the proposed and future storm sewers, including design storm calcs and 25-year check storm HGL calcs. Included with these calculations, a drainage area map showing the area reaching each basin. Please also provide capacity calculations for the downstream runs of Pipe and Highland Road to verify that they have sufficient capacity to handle the flow from the site. Provide calculations for the water quality unit. Provide rim and invert elevations for all storm and sanitary structures. Provide a SWPP plan and associated details. Planning Commission approval is recommended. The above items will require resolution prior to issuance of any permits. I am available for further discussion at the Commission's request.
Thank you. Dennis?
Revised building elevations are a significant change and have incorporated several materials and design elements specified in section 117203B for the town center area. Those items include a faux brick and stone exterior, lintels over the doors and windows, a decorative cornice, prominent pilasters, and a prominent entrance. There is a very limited use of dry-vit for the lintels and cornice. One additional item that would add to the look of the town center standards we're meant to achieve would be to add one vertical and one horizontal mutton bar to each of the square transom windows, similar to the Gidgo at Portage Trail and State Road in Cuyahoga Falls. This would add to the Western Reserve look.
All right. Don?
Nothing, our plans, we get construction plans, we'll review those at that time.
Okay. How about the commissioners? Questions, comments? I did a little bit of question asking because right now, the driveways going in and out of that station are similar to what you would be putting in. And there's no limitation on them. And I know that most people use the farthest driveway to get out, you know, now. So they're against putting something in that driveway, correct? Or can
Yes,
you
sir,
live with
we have talked with our traffic engineer about that. Analyzed it, and part of the discussion was that's gonna be a highly valuable left turn out during most of the time of the day except for peak periods. That we would institute and provide signage that would restrict those left turns out during those peak periods. Work with the city to define what those peak periods are, basically rush hour periods in the morning and then the evening. And then allow that to be a full movement because of the fact that it will be one of the primary means of ingress back over to state property.
But if you don't need it during the peak hours, you certainly don't need it during the off-peak hours.
It just becomes an extra aggravation and creating more potential traffic congestion on site around the fuel heat.
But it causes a safety hazard on the road itself. And it's just, it's not a good spot for the driveway as it is right now. And if you're putting some here, there's gonna be a bigger drop than existing Gidgo. It's gonna be a bigger safety hazard.
That's a good point.
And I can't imagine you need two
problematic for us.
I'd have to see that in a traffic study. I mean, I'd like to see
I-
the traffic engineer put that in writing, because I don't believe that.
I have to agree with you and your traffic study. I just now, I've been going to Westlake a lot, and there's a new gecko put right there at the corner of Columbia and Center Ridge, and you've got traffic coming in right there at the corner. It's at the one far corner, but you got traffic going in right there on Columbia, and you got traffic going in on Center Ridge, and there's absolutely no problems. So I don't, in this corner, to me, it's industrial over there, it's just been going on for a long time, I don't see any problem with the traffic right now going in and out over there. I mean, it's been there for forever.
You
Gas
never see
station.
traffic back up and use that whole turn lane?
I'm over there all the time, I think it's totally fine, I have to agree with this
Really?
gentleman. I do,
I
I
s-
have
I
to
see
agree
it.
with him.
I see
This
it back
is a-
up and use that entire turn lane, and they could use more turn lane than what it's got. And that line of traffic sits up there, and people are gonna wanna take a left. And there's gonna be cars that are gonna either hang out in the road, or
They
they're not.
don't hang out the road now. I
They
mean,
do everywhere.
I'm there in the morning, I'm there all different times. It's not
But-
like that at all,
but
and
if- Okay. But if you're willing to give it up, the left turn, give it up during 4 to 5 to 6 o'clock during the peak hours, when you say you're willing to restrict it, then why would you not, and you can function on it during those hours when you're gonna be busiest, why would you not be willing to give it up at 10 o'clock in the morning?
I'd rather not restrict it at all, but I understand there are some concerns.
I mean, my view, you should eliminate the entire driveway. You don't need 2 driveways for a get-go.
Without that driveway, there's no project essentially.
Right.
Well, then it should be a right in, right out. The left turns are,
And there's, for a project this size with that many acres, there's not been one facility that we've constructed in the past 5 years that won't have one singular entrance that would cause
but you've got,
significant.
well, there is, the Solon one only has 1 driveway.
Well, there's an internal access from the shopping center as well.
That's the only driveway.
It's a smaller facility.
That's the only driveway for it, though. It doesn't access to anyone.
Once again, it's not a similar facility in size.
I'd like to recommend that we have a traffic study done as well with the city and make sure that we're covered. I understand your points, and I think it is very congested right now, and if you double the amount of pumps that you're gonna be putting in as to what you have, I think you're gonna have that much more traffic. I think it's a great idea, great location, you guys do a great job with your business, but I think we should do a traffic study as well.
And I would ask the commission just to consider right now, there's 3 businesses that exist today. And based on our engineers' review of accident reports, there's not anything significant in that area at all. There's 3 businesses, a hotel, a Mexican restaurant, and with Gecko. Essentially eliminating 2 of those businesses and expanding 1 business. So that's, I would like the commission to consider that as well. Our traffic engineer has prepared a trip generation study.
Where is it? And trip generation doesn't tell you anything about it. It's a safety analysis, it's a queuing analysis. You look at your Kluber one, it's got 1 driveway off the side street, and it's got a right in only. You can buy fine there. Fairlawn, it's got 1 driveway off of Trunco, and a right in only off of Market Street.
Again,
It
smaller
seems to-
facilities, they're smaller facilities.
But it's the same business. I don't know how much smaller the thing is, but it's, you've got other ones that I can point to that are getting by on less driveway than that.
As a point of discussion, Kevin, what is going to be the effect on bigger trucks on this property? When you first start, you're not gonna be fueling them, correct?
So, as part of the site plan, we have future uses designated. One being the car wash, which is on the west side of the property. The other being a high-speed diesel fuel campaign, similar to what BP has across the intersection. That would accommodate larger vehicles, not necessarily tractor trailers, but it would accommodate larger vehicles. And having the ability for the driveway entrance closest to 8 is important for that in order for bypassing around internal get-go functions of just the average traditional type of customer, providing a safety level for those vehicles to enter with an adequate radius, and then travel northbound to access the high-speed diesel, then have an exit from them, which is essentially separated turn in with the same driveway, that's why that driveway is larger and wider. And the actual internal drive is wider to accommodate that as well. But that's designed essentially to accommodate our fuel trucks and our delivery trucks coming into the
Yeah.
facility as well. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have to have it large enough in an area where it's not so much congestion with customer vehicles and as larger vehicles, sharing only one entrance or
Sure.
reduced entrances.
Frank, you want to weigh in on?
I'm go along with the official traffic study. I think we need to have something done. Eliminating the driveway, yeah, I think it could survive, but with the truck traffic coming in and so forth, it'd be better to have the trucks enter that way. So that's a concern, but I'll default to Kevin on that because he's got more knowledge than I do on that. Having that a right-only exit seems to be a logical thing to do. This is a new, granted the driveways are in the same area, but this is a new business, and anytime something's torn down and rebuilt, we start with the rules and regulations that we're dealing with at that time period, not what existed 50 years ago. So I would go along with the traffic study.
This is a place that has semis going through there all the time, cars going through there, they've been going through there for years. I think this is not right.
That's
Well-
all the more reason that the safety should be looked at. It's got a lot of truck traffic, and it's got a lot of traffic going through there. And what I'm asking for is not to eliminate the driveway, even though I think you could get by on that. Maybe eliminate the left turns out. I'd even probably be okay with the left turns in being acceptable, but the left turns out is just, you're too close to the main intersection.
How would you do that, Kevin? Would you put a
median, probably some kind of
median
divider, would have to be some kind of mountable curb so that, large trucks can roll over it, fire trucks can get into it, can go right over the curb if they need to. But you could let the left turns in and not ask for just right in.
Can I ask the board to consider this, that with essentially having the driveway approval conditional to going back and providing some level of study and some discussion with the traffic engineer, that you're saying essentially with your knowledge of that intersection, obviously you're a traffic engineer by trade. I think you know our traffic engineer, Mike Schweikert,
Yeah.
very well, that if the commission would approve essentially having that left turn restriction, to have something that conditionally upon our traffic engineer providing some details that may potentially allow that to be a full access, but for tonight's approval, to limit the left outs conditional to essentially proving that with some type of traffic safety report or engineering report.
Well,
Would that be something?
we can just leave it out altogether. We can make it conditional that you'll come back to us with a plan or evidence for or against restriction. So we can approve the whole plan except for that particular portion. So you don't have to list right now, because I think your traffic engineer has to give us something in writing.
That's
That
what
would
I'm
be
suggesting.
a given.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. that
All right.
If the commission would consider an approval, but conditioned upon essentially reducing the access per what you mentioned, not having left turns out, for conditional approval, and then we would come back and provide some traffic and engineering report to determine whether or not the safety factor with that left turn exiting onto Island would be something within the realm of the safety factors and CIP and whatever it may be. If that's something that we'll consider and allow to push forward to the final site plan approval contingent upon resolving the complete, full access movements for that particular project. Hear that you're not really overly concerned about that.
I'm not, because you push that about as far as you can go. I mean, you've got that future, looking at the plan, we're going around to, you got this future truck drive, but I think you push that one as far as you can. You're not going to get a signal with enough traffic for that.
Right.
I'm not concerned with that, but I think having that as far away as you can is a good idea. 2 lanes.
You gotta be able to come out, you gotta make a left turn out of there, because that's So you're talking if somebody had to come out and go right,
No, we're not talking about that. I didn't say restricted out left completely.
I thought you just said you did something about you were gonna be restricted to go left.
Just at that one
Okay, 'cause I was gonna say
The left
this-
turns, that essentially the westernmost access drive, I don't have any problems, no issue with.
Yeah,
It's
the
easternmost.
western one is what people do right now. I mean, I have actually been there and gone to go out the way I came in and turned around and had to go to the west driveway because there's too much cars
And I
there.
think most people probably do that, but the worry is the guy who doesn't do that, who thinks, I'm just gonna go for it anyway, and pulls out in
Yes,
front of someone.
you have to consider that.
Who knows, where he goes down the other end, he's got a lot more visibility, and a lot more factor of safety being down there a couple hundred feet farther away.
And there's no saying that people are gonna follow the rules or whatever we do anyway, because I see people making left turns out of NTP.
Yeah.
But there's no traffic when they do it. So, what's your feeling? You want to give conditional approval?
Well,
Waiting upon that?
my feeling is we still should give conditional approval, but it should be based upon our traffic study, not on theirs, because again, his traffic study is being paid for by them. I think it'd be better if we had an independent traffic study done.
All right, Janelle, you wanna make a note of
Who's
that?
supposed to hire the traffic study though?
I'm sorry?
Well, we have an engineering firm and they will have an expert that will use an our retainer for, or maybe have to pay a little bit extra to get it done. To get his input. We don't have to do a full-blown study, do we, Kevin?
No, I mean, I think some things I'm thinking about, it's cues, which is how far traffic backs up when you wanna use it. If it shows that consistently the traffic's only backing up, before you get to that driveway, then I guess I'd be okay with it. But I know that the traffic backs up farther than that. To be honest, I'm not sure what he's gonna be able to show me in the thing that's gonna change my opinion. So I'm fine to say, yeah, put a report out, but I'm not sure, level of service is not gonna be a good determinant of, it'll show good levels of service. It might show a bad level of service with just one driveway, but that's not my concern. My concern is safety at that one. And I really don't know, if I had to do the traffic study, I don't know what I'd do to try and prove the point for you.
Well, one of the points he said that was real good is that 3 businesses use that driveway now.
Yeah.
And looking back in history, it's not like there's accidents there all the time. If there was, it'd be a no-brainer.
So the business, the hotels are pretty sleepy.
Yeah.
The Mexican restaurant doesn't get hot until at least dinner time. I don't even know if they're open during the day.
Different peak
And
hour.
the get-go that's there, like I said, it's not even close for the type of business.
Right.
This is way more pumps. That was a holdover. So
Right.
you can't get this built. The use is completely,
I think that's just double the amount of traffic that comes in.
easily twice as much.
So then it becomes a consideration that way when you look at the answer to your question. Is
Yeah.
their feeling there will be more traffic than is generated by 3 businesses, which is a good thing for you.
We can jump through a lot of hoops and delay a lot of stuff and have the traffic study fully done, or I could recommend, and I'm not sure who's, I know a couple of guys probably, speak for you guys. If I recommended a right in, right out, left in, no left out, I'd be okay with it, and I'd probably want to give you, the approval, at least for that thing tonight, not what you guys feel.
I'd go with that.
If you said no left out, you could probably get it tonight. There's a couple other issues, or if you want to go and have, Mike do the study, but it's gonna take him a couple of weeks to gather data, it's a month's worth of work.
What would you, what
Do you like his engineer? I mean,
Yeah, I know his engineer's a good-
So are you
good
comfortable with
traffic
him
engineer.
using his own engineer?
I would be okay, but I'd want to look at it, I'd want GPD to review it, like Brian said.
As I proposed earlier, you'd be comfortable, and the commission would be comfortable with essentially approving what you had recommended, and then conditionally upon whatever proof or evidence that we could provide at a later date, that could be considered either a commission meeting or administratively, to allow the left exiting movement out, that would be something.
agreed tonight to allow it one way and you want to change it, you would have to come back to another planning meeting.
I think it's important to have a low turnout, so. That's just my opinion on it. I don't know.
I think the way what you're suggesting now is, and basically give you, if we can work everything else out, approval tonight, if you have the traffic study done, you feel like you got some solid stuff. I guess you come back to the thing, it's almost basically like a site plan change.
So
I would
you'd have
prefer
to,
that method if we could.
yeah, you'd have to come back with something that would really blow his socks off.
Understood with the queuing analysis, things of that sort. So I would be acceptable to that tonight, and then allow our folks to go back and review and provide additional information and bring it to the commission.
The elevations, I have to compliment you on. You've worked with us very, very much in getting to where we can live with it, maybe with just a few touches that Dennis recommended.
Did you bring material samples?
I did, yes. Would you like to see those?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they need to see those, yes.
Sounds like you're building it out of paper.
Carried it.
That one's better.
Granted, this is just a small sample.
Sure
This is
is.
And this is the face
Shut up
break,
to the eyes one.
the red color. Stacked stone would be around the entry and at the pilaster. The red brick would be essentially the face brick throughout the body of the building. And then the ground face CMU, what the mayor has in his left hand,
Dennis, do you want to see this?
is along the base of the building, continuous along the base of the building.
Well, this stone here is very decorative. If you'll notice, the lines of all of it are exactly what we were asking for.
So we've added reveals and some other
This is a-
manipulation within the building, ethos cornices, some lintels,
Which is high, and we have this kind of- It's
the
like the other guys,
decorative feature of
split face
the
around.
main entry as well, just to give it a little bit of height and distinction.
I really
That's
do.
okay.
This is basically just, you know, when they're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This probably went good by the,
I mean,
outside dining room.
there was
It's a
no
plain split
movement,
face
and
window.
then
Yeah.
it came out this way.
Yeah, I really appreciate the effort on that.
I think we all remember where we were
Yep.
in the last
Other materials, yeah.
meeting, so I guess there's significant.
Significant. That's why we're talking about how significant. All right, are there any other questions, comments?
So I do have these,
Sure.
these comments were just made available to me, just at their meetings.
Okay.
I would like just a chance to respond.
Absolutely.
With the architectural comments, we had no issue with that. Mr. Sachs, we can add those mullions as you requested to the windows. That's not an issue whatsoever. The comments from the city engineer, I take no objection to. I know our civil engineers have been working closely with Mr. Denny on trying to resolve
All right.
certain issues with stormwater. Mr. Franz, the comments would like to go down individually and address those. Details, I think we've provided essentially almost like a 70% set of civil plans that have been submitted for review. There are some details associated with that, there are dimensions associated with that. There's a stormwater plan, I believe there was a hydrology study as well that was submitted with that as well. And I guess the outcome of that study and the analysis of existing conditions versus proposed conditions indicated there was significant decrease accept that as kind of the reasoning behind the level of detail of the plans, not detailing all the future uses. They just may not come around.
And that was explained to us previously, that, anybody,
I'm okay with that.
Right. How about you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, we're good,
I'm on
we're
board
good
with
with that. Next,
Item number 2, we did discuss before the meeting about the parking that was in conflict. We'll make adjustments to that. The landscape plan, some comments, if everybody has a copy of the landscape plan, the submittal set, I should say. Tried to add a lot of different landscaping, specifically along the State Route 8 and Highland Road frontages. We've also accentuated that with a decorative fence with masonry piers that is essentially along this corner of the property and also in between the 2 driveway entrances.
yeah, that fence is gonna set it off.
And I thought if detail was included, we could provide a detail to
Of
that
the
effect.
materials.
It's essentially brick pilasters with a black aluminum
Yes.
type of picket fence.
What
or
we
picket
had
fence.
in the city now,
That we would do something similar to that, yes.
well, that would be what we want.
And then we've gone in and we've added trees and landscape beds with a variety of different landscape. I will add more trees in order to be code compliant. I don't think that's an issue whatsoever. So we can add that to address too by having more trees essentially along the Highland Road. It seems that was one of the major concerns. Is that correct?
I mean, I think along Highland and Route 8, I mean, you're on center spacings anywhere from 60 to 90 feet. You know, I'd like to see it closer to the 20 to 25, I mean,
Well,
30
the
feet.
trees will do a better job than any shrubs or anything of that sort.
Certainly, the shrubs should be more for the detailed interior landscaping along the building. The trees and the evergreens are really more for along the frontage, and I think you can really sort of highlight that fencing at the corner by adding another landscape island, like you kind of did at one end. You had a landscape island at the corner of the fence. You could do something similar. I mean, we're not trying to hide your building. I think the city wants to make it prominent, but at the same time, soften the site and soften the impervious surface and the parking. That's the intent of the landscaping.
We can make some adjustments to add maybe more lines of 30 foot on center, something like that, 25 to 30 feet. Is that?
I think that'd be much better. Yeah.
Some of that was supposed to happen with these junipers. There were supposed to be arborvitaes, so we'll change that out and get a plan that's more acceptable. Comment number 3 that we discussed that at ownership tonight about the driveways. The generator pad, that will be screened. Is a generator and transformer that's in that northwest corner of the building. That is to be screened with Trex board fencing, with the gate for access obviously as well, but that is shown at that northwest corner of the building.
Which is the least visible.
Yes, sir. That's a Trex board type of fencing, so everybody's familiar, essentially engineered wood. Low maintenance, color would be compatible with the building itself. I would try to get something similar to reddish.
So like you'd be able to do it as a board on board as opposed to a stockade with the Trex board?
We've never done that with the Trex board. We've always done a stockade fence, and it provides a pretty opaque screening. We've done that in all of our recent, everybody's familiar with Orange Trail and Cuyahoga Falls. That's what we did there. Minner, you mentioned that. That's what's going there as well. I don't know if that's ability. We've never done a board on
It can be done with the
a shadow box type of
a
thing?
shadow box type, yeah. It's up to the commission, but I mean, certainly aesthetically, it would look nicer than the stockade fencing.
I'm not sure if we can do that with that material, but we can look into that. Otherwise, it's just a stockade fence in the back of the building.
It's in the place that it could
Yes.
Yeah, it's,
Um,
I don't think we have a problem with that, does anybody? You okay with it? All right.
Item number 5, this goes to landscaping as well. So essentially, comments to add foundation landscaping, is that right? We've tried to with the islands that are adjacent to the building,
Yeah.
what I can do, because it becomes problematic in areas where essentially we have outdoor merchandise on that side of the
Yeah.
building. We have high traffic flow in the outdoor dining area, and all the bollards there becomes difficult. Would the commission accept maybe just doing a higher level of landscaping within those islands adjacent?
I would be fine with that, because when you look at that picture, there's really no place. I mean, you've got parking there.
If we did something to add additional landscaping, we'd have trees, obviously, we can't put more than one tree in that island. If we did
Right.
Something with some low
But
shrubbery. or-
Some low shrubs with it would be fine. What do you think?
I like the way it looks right now.
Oh, yeah, the way
I
it
mean,
looks
it's-
right
it looks
now
just
with
fine.
the parking there,
Why
trying
do you
to
have to
put more
cost that?
shrubs. But shrubs on the island,
We tried
Makes
the
it
detail,
look-
we haven't done that as well as I had wanted to there. There to be mulch beds and.
mulch beds,
Mulch
okay.
beds and having fountain grass and.
There you go.
cucumbers and maybe some daylilies or something of that sort.
burning bushes.
Well, there you are.
Something like that, just to
Yeah.
add those to the islands that are adjacent to the building. Would that be something acceptable?
It's entirely up to the commission. You know, we've done it with other buildings where we've added foundation landscaping, but it's entirely up to the commission. I would just suggest if you're gonna use small bushes, that you consider like a burning bush to add some color to the site, as opposed to just throwing some junipers in there. They tend to not be as nice from a landscaping treatment.
When you get into a gas station, you're gonna have people coming from all different angles, from the pumps, from cars that are parked all different ways. You don't get that at other buildings where we have the shrub.
Or defined entry?
Yes. So, we're good to go?
I'm good with that.
All right, Kevin? All right.
Number 6, the decorative fencing, we talked about that. I actually thought there was a detail that's attached to the plan. There should have been. We can provide that at a later date for something just for final engineering to include that.
Yes,
Uh,
just to make sure, you've already explained it, and it is recorded, that it's going to be like the rest of the fencing throughout the city.
And then item, comment 7. I think we can accomplish that fairly easily by just shifting just one of those light poles more interior to the site. We can try to design this such that the light would bleed off the property boundary. There's one area near the entrance, the easternmost entrance on the island. We'll just scoot that pole further back to keep that minimum 1 foot across the.
Well, you've cooperated with us tremendously all the way through this, starting with the elevations and all the rest of it. So, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept everything that we've discussed here tonight. There's so many. It's all been recorded, so,
We accept the plan as submitted, except for, further,
The drive, I think we're gonna approve with the driveway with no left turn out, correct? And if it wants to change that later, they'll come back with more.
all right, so make that part of the motion too, Janelle.
That's just the eastern driveway.
Yeah.
So no
Correct.
left exit.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anyway, thank you very much for cooperating, appreciate it. Next is, proposed site plan adjustment, patio for retail plaza. Lance, that will be you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You got a load there. Yeah. He owns, the corporation stock was sold.
Just asking.
That's all right. So, comments on this, Frank?
Mr. Mayor, I have no comment regarding the patio area, just the signage.
All right, engineers, comments? No.
I have reviewed the submittal on the November 17th planning commission agenda and offer the following for the commission's consideration. Engineering has no issue with the proposed work. Approval is recommended. Applicant must obtain approval from Senate DOES for changes to sanitary work.
You're good with that? All right, Dennis?
No, no.
All right, Don?
I just have one question of concern. I have revised plans that was submitted by First Watch on the outdoor patio where they listed the bollards at 4 feet on center. This submittal shows them on as 5 feet on center.
Okay. 4 feet's fine.
Well, 4 feet is code requirements.
Okay.
I have a copy of that.
We'll meet code, that's fine.
All right. Are there any other comments? A question?
Don, are those only required where the cars are pulling up? It looks like they're just along those parking spots. Is that
Yeah,
the only place?
right.
So the curb along the aisle, it's not?
Yeah, I have a.
Well, I believe you.
All right.
There's requirements as to how far a 4-inch pipe filled with concrete,
Okay.
you know, or if they choose to do a patio wall similar to what the Winking Lizard did, that planter serves as for crash protection.
Rest of it?
Fine.
Frank?
Good.
Good. Rita?
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Do I have a motion?
She mentioned 4 foot.
Approved with 4
It
foot.
says
Vote.
metal plates, it's fine.
Yep.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There you go. Thank you. Sorry you had to wait so long, but there was a lot on the books before you. All right, you're next. Proposed sign.
Did you see that? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Comments? Are there any comments, Janelle? I don't remember this one.
For the sign, we just have comments from Brian.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report dated November 9th. The applicant's requesting to construct a 7 by 7 foot 7.08 foot sign, ground sign. It's just under 50 square feet in front of the new plaza, 453 East Aurora Road. Section 1179.07B of the code permits 40 square foot ground sign, but does provide additional area upwards of 60 square feet, as outlined in section 1179.07 F3. Given the subject site has more than 500 feet of frontage, the sign area at about 50 square feet is acceptable. The setback for the sign, ground monument signs restricted to the height of the sign or 5 feet, whichever is greater. The proposed sign at 10.5 feet would require a 10.5 foot setback. It's unknown the exact setback, but it looks almost as though it's right up to the right of way and actually being built over a utility storm sewer. So that issue needs to be worked out with the applicant. And then regarding the architecture of the sign sign situated on an aluminum pole that's wrapped with a faux brick base. And a portion of the sign that contains the plaza name, Macedonia Marketplace, is constructed with aluminum panels. Given that this site's located in the town center and development standards, which include signage or greater, I believe more emphasis should be placed on the overall architecture of the signage. Traditional building materials, for example, brick, have been required, and the material's been required to match the main building in the past on other signs. So I suggested that the city architect review the proposal for compliance with the town center standards.
It should be the brick that matches the building,
We're okay.
rather than the faux brick, because that's what we require other businesses to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a trip down UD2, that's fine, we'll match the brick on the building, the base, and meet the appropriate setback.
All right,
So your plan is to leave it the same spot, you're just gonna
Shift it to, yeah, to meet the, yeah.
push it back on the other side.
all right. Any other questions?
I think we talked about this last time, I refreshed me, landscaping around the site, you're doing independent, is there gonna be anything around the
We'll
site
do,
itself?
we usually do a planter around it with just low growth things typically.
That'd be nice. Anything else?
Is the base masonry?
We will make the base piece
Okay, all right,
to match the building, same as.
all right.
Anything else?
Nope.
Do I have a
Good.
motion?
I'll make a motion, and based on what he agreed to, as far as requirements, as far as the base being the same as the building, and also, what was the other item? Setback. Fine with everything else. So I have a motion on that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, there you go.
Great, thank you.
You're on your way. Sorry again, you had to wait.
No problem.
You know what we need to do? We need to start signing some of these. Maybe, yeah, start passing them down. Do you have an extra pen, Janelle? Somebody must have stole mine. I couldn't have forgotten. No,
I was gonna say, I'm good for that.
there's one.
I'll get that back.
That's
All right, thank you.
Looks like a bullet.
You too.
30 out
So
of
long.
6 on a three
Bye.
way.
Yeah, you see that? All right. Okay, next we have proposed sign face change for Steak and Shake. How you doing? Sorry you had to wait so long. That's even better. Okay, comments on that, Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report dated November 9th, the applicant's proposing to change the sign panel of an existing ground sign located at 597 East Aurora Road. The existing sign is comprised of a tenant panel and a portion of the sign dedicated to manual changeable copy. Section 117907B of the code permits a 40 square foot ground monument sign. This proposed sign replaces the manual changeable copy with another panel. The Steak and Shake portion of the sign is about 26.27 square feet, and the $4 menu portion of the sign is about 24.59 square feet. In total, it's a little more than 50 square feet, which is slightly more than 10 square feet over the allowable 40 square feet. Now, some may say, how is that? It looks almost exactly the same size as the existing sign, and it sure does. But the code, when this sign was constructed and carried forward into the current code, allows an increase, if you will, or a bonus for manual changeable copy. And so when that comes out, it refers back to the sign panel requirements, which is 40 square feet total as a maximum. If there was manual changeable copy in there, you could increase the size of the sign area. But once that manual copy comes out, it's limited to 40 square feet. So in order for this to this proposal to move forward, they'll either need to reduce the size of the sign at or below the 40 square feet, which I think could be done with the panels, just reducing the panels slightly. Or if this isn't something the applicant's willing to do, then they would need to seek a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals.
All right, any other comments? Hearing none from the commissioners.
They wouldn't approve it just as is now. We've done like 40 of these so far, and everybody's approved them but here.
That doesn't meet the code.
It did
I mean-
Cleveland, Mansfield, Ashland.
Everybody's got their own
Yeah.
set of codes.
I didn't know, I never heard that.
Yeah, it's a.
Believe it.
Yeah, it's a requirement. It actually was in the commission through council updated their code a number of years ago, and that provision actually stayed in place. So that's how Steak and Shake was able to do it previously and have a larger sign. They went underneath that provision. But when they take out the manual changeable, it refers back to the
Reduces
40.
it. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess we can't give variances on our codes, it has to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I put the sign up myself, it's already up. Don't we file a variance?
That's entirely up to the city.
I'm guessing you'd probably rather go through that procedure. I mean, maybe you'll show a hardship of, the whole casing would probably have to change, the foundation's gonna be sized too big. You might be able to show some hardship and get an approval, but we can't give that here.
But just file with go before the PCA, it'll be worth it. I think it costs, what does it cost now? $10 a person, about $100.
$50, I think, something like that.
$150. And you won't be cited.
Set me up for a variance, maybe we'll
All right, well,
You stop into the building department, fill out the
Yeah.
application, tell them, yeah.
if you do that, we'll be fine. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Table?
We will till I come back.
Or to make a.
Well, if
Motion to
he-
approve
if he
it,
gets
subject.
Or, yeah, conditional approval.
Yeah, it's conditional approval. All right, so we have a motion for conditional approval with the variance. Do I have a second?
Second.
And that's second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right,
Then you
thanks.
just go back to it.
Building department will handle you tomorrow. Just go right up the steps upstairs and go to the,
Variance.
yeah. All right, thank you.
I was gonna say, I think this one.
Next on the agenda is,
That's like the first thing that goes.
Yeah.
building at Ledge Road. There you are. Finally. It's been a long night. Sorry about all that, but sometimes that happens.
Full party.
Yeah. Well, that was a big project and it took a long time. All right, comments on this, Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report dated November 10th. The applicant is proposing to construct a 20 by 44, or about 880 square feet accessory building in front of their main office warehouse building located at 355 Ledge Road. I have a few comments based on the application and building sketch that was submitted. The sketch itself and site map are fairly conceptual and lack some details. However, the request is very minor in nature and doesn't necessarily need full site plan for such a small accessory building. At a minimum, a more detailed site plan / sketch illustrating setbacks, parking, and any other applicable information should be provided. The building appears to be a prefabricated structure being placed on a hard surface along the east side of the building. Therefore, stormwater drainage is likely not a concern. This should be confirmed by the village engineer. The small accessory building is wall screened by the existing warehouse facility and appears to comply with the area, yard, and height requirements of the code. The materials of the proposed building appear to be similar to those of the main structure. No site plan is provided, however, an aerial photograph is part of the application, and the proposed building is shown on the photo. There appears to be plenty of parking on the site, and the requirements for the proposed building are almost non-existent. So the conclusion that I reach is that it's very minor in nature, and the building's quite small in comparison to the existing facility. Presumably, this building will provide additional material storage, but the use of the building should be confirmed by the applicant. This time, recommend the proposal be approved, subject to the submission of a more detailed site plan / sketch for administrative review.
No comments.
Engineer, no comments, done? None. None? All right, so, we can approve this conditionally, that you get better drawings to the building department.
Right, I mean, it is a prefabricated building. I print one off from there, that it's a stock building that they
Right.
produce and
That
all
would be
that.
fine.
I'd be more than happy to bring that up.
Okay.
This is actually gonna be used for pallet storage and
Alright.
for seasonal lawn equipment that's gonna go through weed eaters, lawnmowers,
Right.
that kind of thing. On the other hand, we will have 2 fire extinguishers in the building accessible. Right inside the building, there's one, I've been out there a few times for the facility, so.
All right.
As far as watershed, I was the one that actually was heading up this project. That was my number 1 concern, is looking at the area of the previous projects I've dealt with. When I talked to Dennis, that was one of the first things I said, is that we look at watershed. We're in an area where it will not affect watershed at all. Also, side of the building, we want to make sure it is pumped back so that it doesn't affect any view from the road as well.
Very good, thank you. All right, so.
And it's not blocking any exits or anything?
No, sir.
Okay.
There's only one exit in, our entrance in / exit into the plant. And it's gonna be almost right next to the building. The only thing is we left this area around it in case we needed fire access. I left a few feet in the front and the back side of it as well.
Excellent.
It's north of the middle dock doors?
Towards the very back, where the last dock doors are, just up a
Yeah, there's
little
one
bit.
completely on the north and one about midway of the building.
Right, exactly. Yeah, right after the 2 docks, it's right, goes right above the building. So we try to make sure we cover those angles.
And it'll have man door entrances,
Sorry?
man door entrances.
No, it'll have one garage door entrance into it.
You'll need a man door.
It shows a man on the drum.
Yeah, they had changed the, needs a main door on it.
Yeah, overhead doors would be considered means of egress.
I'm sorry.
An overhead door is not considered means of egress. I thought maybe it's gonna park the semi in there. Cause it's
Not
long
quite that
enough.
big.
It's that big.
Well, there's a good thing that came out of the discussion. You need to have that.
Wouldn't be just this.
Any other questions, comments? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve with the condition that they get the drawings to the building department, and also a door be added.
Man door.
The man door, you want to call it the man door?
Specified 36
Okay,
inch.
man, what?
Men are like that.
What'd you say, Mr. Fuller?
Specified 36 inch man door.
36-inch man door?
Sure. Minimum.
I didn't write that down. I got the man door, but I didn't get that down.
All
Yeah, I
right.
got it up.
Make no stuff. We have a motion.
You know, make sure you get it.
Do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you
Thank
for
you,
all
I appreciate
all
it.
your cooperation.
Have a nice night.
You too. All right, next is proposed signage for Charming Charlie. Hi, how you doing?
Good.
You've been in here before, haven't you?
Yeah, you guys just.
Yeah. I keep asking the same thing companies. All right, Brian, do you have something on this for us?
Mr. Mayor, I do not. I submitted a report at the previous meeting.
Right. Are there any other comments, Jenna?
No.
All right. Why didn't we approve it the last meeting? Were nobody here? I think that's what.
It was approved, this is just like a change.
Okay, and change.
Yeah.
All right.
So we installed This is, they were approved from the last meeting, and it's white on a beige background. Customer needs it. So we're back again. This is the color of the face right now. It's just a white plastic. This is obviously navy. This one is perf. I didn't have a piece of navy perf to show you. Everyone know how perf operates?
No.
Perforated vinyl, when you put it on a white background, the light source behind it, during the day, it will show up navy. At night, it will remain white.
Oh,
So,
very
that gives them better contrast, matches the awnings. Hopefully that will be a solution that they will love. So we're back to navy.
so you want to use the perf?
We want to go out, hopefully not in the field, and apply the vinyl over the existing faces.
In other words, you don't have to take the letters down, you just cover.
The faces, we'll have to bring the faces in, warm them up, warm
Okay.
them on, take them back out, put them on. So,
All
just,
right.
just add the vinyl to the faces.
But the size and everything, the sign is staying the same? Yeah,
Everything
okay.
the same, yeah. Minor change.
Do I have a motion?
I'm trying to, is there any issues with the color? Did we have colors? Good colors to the palette?
Yeah, the planning commission in their change of the Macedonia Common Sign Plan, back I think in June or July of this year, did state that did accept that the sign face colors can be chosen by the tenant subject to your approval. So if you find it acceptable, the commission can approve it.
Okay, I thought it looked nice.
Matches and hot pink doors.
I like it.
I did list the doors.
Well, the thing again is from a distance, you know, from the Commons Boulevard, when you're looking.
One stand out.
Yep.
That piece.
Any other comments, questions?
Okay, motion to approve.
Second?
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, there you go, Amy.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for the lesson. First,
Did we ever get any more comment about their lines? Did they ever come back and then, the stripe drawing versus a solid color?
Not that I've heard.
They put up the solid ones.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, did they? Okay.
all right, that was the last one for tonight. Do I have a motion to adjourn since our next meeting is the 15th of December? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.